And hey, everybody, welcome aboard. Good to see everybody. How
Hello.
are you? I got James over here with me. Good man. Come over and hang out with me for a bit.
Yep.
We'll see if he gets distracted like Derek always does with
What?
the looking at himself.
What?
Derek will stare at himself in the monitor. I don't have you upstairs. He'll stare. James decided to come over and hang out with me on it. He had a little bit of free time, so he wanted to join us. How's everybody doing tonight? I got to turn off the damn shot thing because then all of a sudden everybody's going to try to get us drunk. We don't do that. This is not like.
Unfortunately, I have a physical in the morning, so I cannot have any shots.
He is not partaking in such things, but that's okay because we don't want him to fail his physical. It's a massive test, that physical thing.
Well, oddly enough, if you take one dose of Tylenol, it looks like you've been drinking heavily all night long.
Or if you eat too many, the poppy seed?
Poppy seeds can cause you to fail a urine test. But yeah, because that pops up as an opioid. So yeah, don't eat poppy seed bagels before a physical or any type of employment screening. Not good.
Don't eat any poppy seeds. Ow. Dang, I twisted that sucker in my teeth and that hurt like crap. Don't eat any poppy seeds. Just don't eat poppy seeds. Just avoid them. You don't need them. They're a luxury. You don't need them. No reason to be there.
Wasn't that what they were walking through in Wizard of Oz? Was a field of poppies when they were getting like high before they went to the castle? I haven't seen the movie in like 20 years.
I feel like there's really no telling what all was meant for that story because there's so many
As a trip, man.
things that did you ever do the Dark Side of the Moon thing?
No, what is that?
Supposedly, you could start Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album at the beginning of The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And it will concisely go with the entire movie all the way through.
That sounds like fun.
Chad, where you at? Yardism, you correct me on this. Tell me if that's not true or not, because I'm pretty sure I'm not making that up.
I've never done that. I've never heard of that before.
I know I've heard it from somewhere. I've never done it. I've thought about it, but I haven't watched that movie in so long. Chad, yep. And that's uncanny.
So do you mute the movie and just listen to the soundtrack, or is it just an additional soundtrack to the movie?
I don't know. Chad, do you know how to do this? Tell us in chat. Chad, I don't know how to do it. I'm confused on it. I don't know, but anyway, how was your week so far?
My week's been great. Other than about a week ago, got hit in the eye, so that's doing a lot better. If you can't tell, this pupil's a little bit bigger than the other one, but it's recovering well. Then just been working on my deck and getting that finished up on my self-imposed paternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
So how about you? How's your week been? That good? Wow.
It's going well. Just busy as I'll get out because, of course, Haley over at college. And then, of course, the boy has ball practice every single Monday. So it's like trying to get on in time is like, it throws a monkey wrench and everything. But that's okay. I don't mind it. And then he's got shooting on Wednesday. And then he'll have games. Those are coming up because we've got spring, the inaugural worst throwing of the first pitch or whatever on Saturday or whatever it's called. I don't remember what it's called. I don't know what it's called. I should know what it's called, but I have no idea what it's called.
This is great parenting right here.
We do exactly what we can. He's lucky I remember his name half the time.
Yeah, I know.
And sometimes I don't remember what grade he's in. I'm like, what grade? What is it? Third?
After
10?
the third kid,
what is it?
Sometimes I don't know my son's name. I call over. I'm like, I don't know what his name is.
I mean, it's like, at some point you start just calling him whatever you can. Hey, Jim, Joe, Sammy, come here. Whoever you are.
You with the face, get over here.
Hey, you're hungry. Move. Let's go. Eat this that's in front of you. Which is fine. But that's the more difficult part of it. How'd you like the Friday show?
Friday show was fun. It's I've watched it, but I don't get a chance to be on her very much because working and all that kind of stuff. But my wife's making me go to day shift, so I might be able to join a few more times.
I mean, you're welcome to come on anytime you want to. It's just about having fun and hanging out. It's stuff we used to do all the time.
Oh yeah.
But then we had kids.
Do this at your parents' house when you lived out there in high school and just sitting on the couches and stuff, just messing around, having fun.
Imagine how much money we could have made if people got to see all the shenanigans we got into. Well, then jail would have been bad.
If people saw the things that we did, we wouldn't have the jobs that we did. We would be.
This is correct.
Working in jails.
Yeah. I concur.
Yes. I am happy I existed in a time before everybody recorded everything always.
You know, I part of me thinks too, like just that whole aspect of people wanting to get those clicks seems to really be a big disaster to everything.
What fulfillment is there in that? It's just pixels on a screen, and people, it's like having a real conversation with somebody is more meaningful and satisfying. Talking to somebody on the phone is more meaningful and satisfying than sending a text. And I don't know.
Well, I mean, fulfillment wise, yes, but again, the youth are more into that instant gratification, and I forget the neuroscientist's name, Harvin, whatever. He was a neuroscientist, and he said there is only one currency in the world, dopamine. Yeah,
that's true. Makes you feel good.
That's it.
So that's what you want.
That's it. He's like, there is no other, like, there are no dollars, there are no cents, there's no crypto, there is no gold. It is only dopamine. That is the universal currency for human beings. And not even human beings, but probably animals, but human beings exercise it in a broader, more advanced scale. I don't know the right word for it. I don't know the good terminology for it. But essentially, we have other ways of increasing those dopamine levels beyond just the primal states.
So think about this. Think about somebody from like the 1800s, living a hard life, working all the time, working for everything that they have. They probably still lived a fulfilled life. They probably lived a happy, simple life. And when you have somebody that's so focused on having 10,000 friends, nobody has 10,000 friends. Like your social media following, that's not real. And people getting so lost into that, and that you see people are depressed, and they just don't feel any worth to it, because there is no worth to it. It's whatever you put behind it, the currency you put behind it.
Well, I mean, I think that's part of your problem too in modern society, especially with the youth, is that, you know, between COVID and being isolated, between the internet and being isolated. I mean, I remember when FaceTime was a thing, and Haley would FaceTime her boyfriend, and they would be on the phone, and I would walk up, and her phone's on the table, and all I see is a ceiling fan.
Yeah.
Why are you wasting my internet?
Yeah.
Like, get off that and just call them.
Yeah.
Like, why are you FaceTiming?
Yeah. Or go on a date.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that interaction that we used to do is very, I won't say completely gone, but it's like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Compared to what we used to do. I mean, gosh, we used to get in to all kinds of everything every single weekend. I mean, that's what we did. If we were home alone, we were depressed.
Yeah.
Now they're home alone and they're great, but when they're out, they're depressed. It's
or
like,
they're anxious.
Wait, what?
They're out. Yeah.
It's
I think that's
hold
funny.
on. This doesn't make sense. Like, you know, it's mind-boggling. Like Haley just had her, she just had a tournament. She's on the table tennis girls team at Alabama, and she's terrible. You know,
brutal honesty.
And I mean, that's, you know, she's terrible. But I'm happy that she's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a saying. I'm like, be as terrible as you can.
Yeah.
But do it. Just throw in there and get super, super bad at it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And just flat be terrible, and don't give a crap. Don't care. Just
have fun.
Get into it. Exactly. Do it. Have fun. I mean, that's what we do with kids like my son's age playing ball. Like, we have so many, like, Little League is probably the most toxic environment.
Oh, the parents. Parents
planet.
Can be really toxic.
Not just the parents, but the coaches too. They're all trying to win. They're all pissed off their kid isn't playing the position that they want and everything else. I mean, I coached many, many times for both Haley and the boy, more for the boy. And I mean, there was a couple coming Jesus moments that I had to have talks with the parents. I'm like, look, I'm gonna let you know right now, if you have a problem with how I coach, I suggest next season you sign up.
Yeah.
To be a coach.
Yeah. Let you understand what I'm going through, and I mean, maybe you have a better appreciation for it.
You know, I said every kid's going to get to play, and every kid's going to get experience at this age. And I mean, we're talking like 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm like, y'all slow your roll. And this is supposed to be fun. Let this be fun. I said, I don't care if they strike out. I don't care if they hit a home run. No home runs, obviously. But I don't care what the action is. You cheer them on.
Yeah.
That's all you do. And you do not badmouth the other team.
Yeah.
And you cheer for the other team as well.
Yeah.
And so, and again, that's not necessarily saying don't expect more out of them, but by God, expect more out of yourself first before you start opening your mouth and criticizing.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so it's just it's mind-boggling the toxic level of it, and you know, and something else that's gotten really kind of lost too is, especially in terms of coaches, and societally, that it makes it very difficult as well. Is that, you know, there's not a lot of life lessons learned on the field as much as it used to be.
Okay.
We used to have, like, you know, when I'm on the field, because again, I'm not head coaching this year, so, but they've asked me to, you know, help out an assistant coach and stuff like that, and which I love because I have time to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have the capacity to coach a full team. I've done that several years, and, you know, and I love it, but the time commitment is just very, very, if you're really going to be committed to it, it's very, very tough. And so, you know, when I'm out there working with kids on the field, you know, we're not just throwing balls. We're talking.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, what is something about yourself you want to work on and get better at? Tell me 3 things that you think you do well and 3 things you can improve at.
Okay.
And things like that. There's other things like, they'll have their parents there or something like that. You know, I'm like, you know, have you said thank you to your parents for bringing you to practice? Have you said thank you to your parents for, you know, coming to your games?
Simple things.
You know, things like that. But there's parents that get even pissy about that. Well, you're not here to teach my kid morals. Well, you know what? I'm here to teach your kid to be a team player.
Yeah.
And guess what? If your kid doesn't respect you, he's not going to respect your teammates. If he doesn't love you, he's not going to love his teammates. You know, like one thing that I have Martin do at every practice is to go up to one of the kids he doesn't know, ask their name, and ask something they like to do outside of baseball. Okay. One, that works on him and his ability to branch out with being uncomfortable, getting to know somebody new.
Yeah.
And 2, he gets to know somebody.
Yeah.
And now he starts to build a relationship. Well, guess what? You know, when teams have amazing relationships, they play really, really well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why you have the big dream team story of the hockey team for the USA that went and beat the crap out of the Russians. Because they didn't take a bunch of egotistical professionals anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they took college guys.
And they beat the best that the Russians had. So with Little Man, is he doing somebody on his same team, or is this somebody on the opposing team?
On his same team.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But even on the opposing team, like, you know, at the end of a game, you know, I've challenged him to not only just clap somebody's hand. Hey, Andrew, clap somebody's hand when he walks by them when he says good game. I'm like, look them in the eye and pick out things that the other teams did, like the other players. Like if you saw somebody make a good catch, try to remember that person's face.
Yeah.
And so when you see them in line, it doesn't have to be everybody, but you see something specifically good in line, tell that person great catch when you walk by them.
See, when I was in college,
could you imagine what that would be like if if that was the norm interactions?
Oh yeah. Well, when I was in college, it drove my friends crazy because a lot of my friends were super, super big into like college football.
Oh yeah.
And when I went to school out in Hawaii, and it was like toxic how they would be so pro the Rainbow Warriors, and they were terrible in everything except for volleyball. Terrible. And they would be so angry if you didn't cheer for their team. And I was like, if somebody did something good on the other team, can you just not say, hey, that was a good play? But then people would be mad at you for doing that. It's like, can you not just congratulate somebody?
You should absolutely congratulate them. In
And I think
fact, you
that's
should
kinda-
promote it.
Yeah.
Because the greatest thing about sports is not necessarily the winning. I never cared about winning and losing. I cared about competition. I always wanted to play those that were better than me.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go up against those that were better than me. When you look at band, look who I sat next to.
Yeah.
But I know I'm never going to beat him in a million years,
Never.
but I am
Never.
always going after him. I'm
Yeah.
always on his heels. And me and Paul had a great relationship.
Yeah.
Like we hung out and we gelled so much because he enjoyed the fact that somebody who he knew he could beat was still coming after him.
Yeah.
And that made him work harder.
Yeah.
And now he would always get angry at me because I didn't practice and everything as much as he did. And so, it's like, but again,
he was like such a special case, man. He
for
was
sure.
so good. Doesn't he do professional work?
He teaches now.
Oh, he teaches
yeah,
now.
he's a professor now. So yeah, he did. He was in orchestra, and then he became a professor. Great guy. Tragedy in his family for sure, which was awful. But I just treated him, like somebody I wanted to compete with, not somebody that was better than me.
Yeah.
And people get drawn to that.
You weren't trying to make him worse. You were trying to compete with him so both of you would be elevated.
Right. And that's what I always say, like tides raise all ships.
Yep.
And so, and those are positives for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I always tell the boy, I said, look, no matter what you do, compete, enjoy the competition, and realize you do it enough. They might beat you 99 times, but at some point you're going to win one.
Yeah.
And
how sweet is that victory when you finally get it?
Not only that, but how detrimental that loss is to them. And then now both parties are going to both work even harder.
Yeah.
And you might not win another one ever again because now this person's just going to wreck you every time. But that's okay because now both have elevated. And it's like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is like when you look at college ball and stuff like that, the other teams aren't jerks to each other.
Yeah.
Now they'll get into scuffs, whatever. But I mean, they
That's
sure
the
as
heat
heck,
of the moment, playing a game, yeah.
But I mean, they sure aren't like at the end of the game. They're all sitting there talking and jawing because they all played ball together. Yeah, beat the hell out of them.
So my wife did dance growing up. She did theater, dance, all that kind of stuff. I did like theater one time. I was terrible. I never did any more with it. Did band, but
I was in the Wizard of Oz at the theater one time.
Really?
I think I was a shrub.
Oh, I was in first grade, maybe kindergarten, and it's like one of those plays where like every kid's a different thing. Like I'm a tree, I'm a lion, I'm with this.
Yeah.
And I was a lion, and my line was dun dun dun. Woke up, I'm a lion, rawr, dun 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 dun.
Right.
My only line. That was it. That's my entire
Nailed
theater
it.
play. Oscar-worthy performance. So my family was really big in the arts, and so I grew up with that, and I was fine with that, and so.
Thank you, Chad. I was a great shrub.
when we had our first child, I thought about sports. I mean, that's just kind of the normal thing. And my wife's like, well, why don't we put him in dance? And I was like, okay, that's fine. We can see if he likes it because he was in a music class already, like a toddler music class, had really good rhythm. So, family friend had a studio, put him in there. First, 2 years, he sucked. Terrible. Oh my God. And you think that he's the only boy in his little kid class, so you think, they'd push him to the front. No, they have him in the back because he's terrible. And he's hating it. He just doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And he's not getting it, and he's competing with himself.
Which makes it worse. Yes.
And he's putting all this pressure on himself to be perfect. And
well, not only that, but this is the other part of it. When you do something wrong, nobody demoralizes somebody as bad as you do yourself. So one, he puts pressure on himself. Hey, double guy Barbie Cincinnati. Not only is he putting pressure on himself, which is causing anxiety and everything else, but then when he doesn't achieve where he's setting his goal, then now he's even demoralizing himself, and he's actually bringing everything even further down than where it would be, and that's hard because it's good to know, it's good to understand and learn to work through it. But on the outside looking in, as a parent, you have to recognize when there becomes a habit of demoralization.
Yeah.
And therefore, all they're doing is perpetuating a downward spiral.
Yeah.
Which is the point you intervene.
Yeah.
And that's the point where you invest significantly more to help achieve those certain levels and start learning, setting smaller goals.
Yeah.
I one of the things I tell my son is like, we're working on goals right now. And again, dopamine being the universal currency, I'm trying to give him some small wins. So we have one thing right now going. We're going to try to do it for this whole week. That's one push-up a day. Okay. Just one push-up a day.
Are you strict with the style? Like he's got to be
it's got to be
form?
a really good. Okay. Well, he's just got to give 100% effort. He's got to really like dig in himself and try to do the best he can.
Okay.
Okay, so it's more of the effort than it is form.
Okay.
It's more, and that's usually kind of what I am. Like whether it's grades or anything. Like everybody, y'all don't know as much as he does, but like everybody would consider, I have very draconic standards when it comes to grades, things like that. Now, there's a method to it.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that it's effort based. Like if you ask either of my kids how often I got onto them for a specific grade, they'll say, well, he didn't get onto me for the specific grade. He got onto me because I didn't do the things to make the grade.
Yeah.
So I didn't give the effort. And the reason for that is because I know that, one, the standards I have are not that high. In fact, I could put it at 100.
Yeah.
So that's the reality. In fact, I even gave them 5 points.
Yeah.
How about that? But not only that, but if you don't set that standard, they're not going to.
Yeah.
Because they don't think they can do that. And so the objective is to work with them and show them, boom, 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 boom. Wow, I can do this. Okay, now you do it. And that's the harder part. The harder part is cutting those little apron strings and letting them pursue working on that. And there's, and I find that harder in kids sometimes in relationships where you have probably parents like me who are almost like helicopter parents, where it's like I'm constantly worried, stuff like that. And so I'm unfortunately, I guess you would say like compassionate narcissistic person. Yeah. As in like I really need to be able to keep him from failing. Yeah. That's the worst thing I could do.
That's I heard a term about that recently as a snowplow parent. You try and clear the way for the kid to minimize the obstacles. Yeah. And
it's not good at all, because that ability to fail and get knocked down, get back up, that's essential. Yeah. You can't always have somebody there picking you back up. And so, some of those things are very fascinating with kids in terms of, because kids can get used to anything, which is amazing too. But the biggest thing for me that I always see is that, you invest that time to help pick them up, bring them to it, get them some success. Now start weaning them off of the support. Yeah. And start pulling it back. And so we're working a lot on that now, like you're saying, like with chores and things like that, giving them some responsibility, because kids love responsibility.
It's like when you have a dog that's like unruly, you put like a weighted backpack on them, like all of a sudden now they feel like they have a purpose. Right. It's like the whole concept of the thunder vest. With my son though, is that it's not the dance studio's fault, but the parents, like, not being sexist, there are dads there too, but mainly the moms, and how critical they are of their daughters.
They're extremely critical.
And how picky they are. And what's so funny, the leniency that they give my son, like, oh my God, look, there's a boy doing that. Oh, it's like, no, you can say that he sucks, because he sucks. I'm not a dancer. Well, I don't know anything about dancing.
Treat everybody the same. Yeah. So, because again, you've got to bring everybody up. Yeah. If you treat somebody different, you will never bring them up with everybody.
Well, it's Derek. Actually, it was funny because Derek's one of my first friends when I moved to Cartersville, and he just had this just kind of just laissez-faire, just I don't care what people thought about me, just like whatever attitude in high school. And I was like, I envied that so much. Right. And basically one day he just talked to me and he's like, look, do you got the bleep button ready?
Oh, okay.
Okay. I don't know.
You got a point when you say it.
All right. So basically, Derek's like, dude, I don't give a what they say. I just do what I'm going to do, and whatever they think is fine. And it took me years to understand that, but now
I do have a nice tutu, thank you.
I understand that so much more. So with my son he's beating himself up that he wasn't doing this right, I basically just talked to him. I was like, look, buddy, this is just to have fun. Like, I'm not going to think any better of you if you're great. I'm not going to think any worse of you if you're terrible. As long as you're having fun, I'm having fun.
And to an extent, that's true. The problem is that, especially when they get to certain ages, they start comparing themselves to the others around them. Yeah. And so, though they might, and the teachers too, you'll see that too. Like, the kids are really, really trying to please and do well and make the coaches proud. Yeah. And so it's, and this is why I say this is what I have found. This is where you have to become substantially invested and get them past one of the first hurdles. If you can get them past one of the first major hurdles, for me, one of the biggest hurdles always has been getting good at it. Yeah. So like math. So like my kids are both pretty good at math. But that came from a really horrific time of constantly doing flashcards all the time. I mean, it's just work.
Got to build the foundation.
It's just a grind. But the reason I did that is because when they actually had to do advanced math, well, the multiplication, division, everything else is already done in their head.
Yeah.
They know it. They don't have to think of it or figure it out. They just know it. And so that sped up their process. And what that did also is it gave them both confidence too. Like, you'll ask my son what his favorite subject is, he'll say math.
Nice.
Well, that's because he's good at it.
Yeah, because he feels good about it.
Right. But I mean, if you're good at something and you have success in it, dopamine, boom.
Yeah.
And so, no duh. And that's the tough part. Like, you know, it's amazing where you can drive those levels to get to it. And so I don't know. We didn't mean to give y'all a life history lesson.
A psych tangent. Well, I gotta say though, but now that he's having fun, his teacher pulled me aside. She's like, "Man, he is completely come into this. Like, he's great. He's now front line. He's enjoying it because he's feeling it, and he's finally enjoying it. It's finally clicked for him. So it makes me proud for him for that he can actually enjoy it. Because I talked to my wife, I was like, look, if he doesn't like dance, this can transition into like any sport with footwork.
Yep.
So soccer or football,
especially soccer.
Oh yeah, because that's a sport that I know more about. That I'm.
Well, I mean, even martial arts.
Yeah.
Soccer, martial arts, football.
Yeah.
Like actual football.
Yeah.
Like
professionals take ballet to make themselves limber so they can
balance, all of those kind of things. I mean, you got to think.
It translates to so many things. So I didn't have a problem with it, but it's just nice seeing that he's actually enjoying it now, because for the longest time, every practice he's just like, I hate this. Why are we doing this? But we held him to it. It's like, look, if you said you wanted to do it, we're going to do it for the year.
Yeah, we're going to finish it. We're going to work hard. We're going to finish it. And then we'll make a decision if we want to continue on later.
Exactly.
But if we commit to something, we're just going to give the best we have. And that's great. Like, that's, and that teaches a lesson too of, don't
just give up.
Don't give
persevere.
up. But, at the same time, realize too that, and this is probably one of the hardest ones too, because it took me a long time to learn this just as a kid growing up, because I didn't have that. Nobody told me some of that stuff, but one of it is just like, just because it was rough the first time, when you finish, don't just write it off either.
Yeah.
Don't just say, okay, well, man, that was brutal. It took a lot to get there. Don't just write it off, and actually try to embrace the work.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to teach the boy at practice. I'm like, this is your opportunity to tell the coaches how much you want to play.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you a pro tip, because they love the term pro tip, or whatever it is, life hack, or whatever it is, the term these days. And I'll say, hey, guess what? Every time you make a play, you catch a ball, you throw a ball, you are telling the coach whether or not you want to play. If the coach is yelling, catch with two hands, and you're catching with one hand, you're telling the coach you don't want to play.
You're not listening to what they're saying.
That's right.
Feedback.
That's right. So always work on the things that your coaches are telling you, regardless of if these are concrete and correct, forever. Well, guess what? You're going to go through a lot of different coaches, so none of this really matters. But be coachable. Become coachable and become a team player in this aspect. And man, that coach is going to take the person with the most heart and willing to be coachable than they are just the raw talent. They'll stick the raw talent somewhere, but they want somebody that's coachable and giving everything they got.
And this will translate later on in life to
it's universal.
Professional career of whatever it is, whatever you want to do. The fact that you
relationships,
can take criticism, you can
everything.
Grow, you can change,
that's
you
right.
can learn, you can talk through things. That's super important.
Crooner will grow on you. I don't know if I've had crooner, but I'll try it at some point. It comes to age. I didn't give a flying F what I wear either. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about, I went through like a bunch of weird phases with growing my hair, clothes, and I think some of that was just some aimlessness and trying to figure out where I fit. And I think that's normal.
Yeah.
Because if you don't go through that progression, you don't realize that at some point you don't really care. where you fit, and you can just be wherever you want to be.
My favorite, the first time I grew my hair out, I can grow really good hair. It's just a talent of mine. It's really pointless, but
Except now it's gray.
oh, it is gray right now. But no, that time it was a luscious brown, and I had it down like past my shoulders. It's beautiful hair, and it had some family stuff going on, and it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna dye my hair black. I'm just gonna see what happens. Oh my god. It was terrible.
Hold on. Remember when I dyed mine blonde?
Oh no, we all dyed our hair blonde. Do you remember?
But mine went orange.
Did you do your eyebrows too?
No.
No,
I think I was too scared to do it.
I think Sean did his eyebrows.
I think I was too terrified to do it.
But no, I did mine black, and this is tan for me right now. I was this color, this complexion with just jet black hair. Terrible look. Terrible look. It was like Jack White. That's
Marilyn
exactly what
Manson.
Like. Oh, it's like 10 years after Marilyn Manson, but doing that, no.
Some oh gosh. I mean, it's just like, but I went through phases like that too, and I think we all do, and I think that's okay because that's just trying to fit.
Yeah, well, think about like when we were in college, like the kids that were emo and stuff. Just a phase they're going through. They're trying to explore themselves, trying to be counterculture.
I don't know. I didn't hang out with anybody from college. I still only hang out with you guys.
Well, I mean, when we were in college, the high school kids were going through the emo stuff.
Oh, definitely the high schoolers were going through emo stuff. Heck, when we went to Japan, we had the crowds that were out there that were like all in like goth and like different stuff. And I mean, even they were doing it.
Yeah.
And they would have like a whole little section next to the subway.
And then they also had the 1950s crew. they all had, Japan is so interesting at the time. I don't know if it's like this anymore. I haven't been in 20 years, but they had different, not gangs, but I guess not a crew, but they
tribalism, I guess you would say.
It's like tribalism, but it's like they had like their little like
tribes. I mean, you could call it tribes,
like
or little
like little sections,
clans, like little clans.
Like a clan, yeah. And there was I remember the first time I was in Japan, I saw a 1950s like doo-wop guys with like leather jackets and going ay all the time with the big poofy hair. Then I walk like 30 feet. Then I see a group of Elvis.
I'm the Fiends.
Yeah.
You mean the fonts? No, the Fiends.
Fiends, yeah. And then I saw like a group of Elvis guys. And then I walk down like 30 feet. And then I see like these like girls dressed up in anime stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, and they're just like hanging out. It's like a Tuesday at like 1 in the afternoon. They're hanging out doing this. I'm like, aren't you supposed to be at work?
Yeah.
Why are you dressed as Elvis? What do you do for a living?
God. I always like anytime I bring up Japan, I always talk about the first time we got to, what was it? The Shinagawa Prince Hotel.
Oh God.
And I was so excited because I was getting hit on by this gorgeous looking Japanese woman, and I think you and Sean were like, that's a prostitute, right? I was like, oh man,
but she's so nice.
So I was like, oh man. But it's like, those are like adventures.
Yeah.
Who's having adventures anymore?
Well, I have some hope for the Gen Z people. I
don't know what that means exactly.
The people that were born after 96 or after 2000, like the people in their 20s now.
Okay.
I've seen
so like Haley, she's 19.
Yeah, I've seen so many people that age group that are not connected to technology. How we were like coming through. Like how many times have you seen a couple sitting at a table, like playing on their phones, and like they could be texting each other. And it's like, that's just so alien to me because I try not to do that.
Or they could not be texting each other and texting somebody else.
Exactly.
And they're like completely disconnected.
But it's like just going out with my wife and my family, seeing younger people actually sitting and talking to each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is so weird. Like it felt like, not even because COVID, but it's like, there was like a 15-year period where like every kid was like socially awkward as hell. It's like it baffled me. And then I'm seeing kind of a flip side to that. So I'm hopeful that people will be more outgoing and travel and see what the world has to offer to broaden their horizons.
I think they're more deficient than you think. And the reason for this is because there was this ideal that tablets were the way of the future, things like that. So let me tell you how inept that generation is. Haley tries to do Excel spreadsheets on a touchscreen.
That's terrible.
Okay. It is so difficult for my wife to get her to use a mouse. So we got her a Surface Pro tablet version because this is the most familiar to her.
Yeah.
Yet she can type and she has the mouse.
I have heard that they don't, like, basic technology they don't understand,
And
like copy machines. And
schools also did this. So schools also had promoted bring your own device, BYOD. That's literally what they call it. It's in the handbook. This started several years ago. This probably like 7 or 8 years ago. And so the schools were even encouraging that. Now you still had some schools out there that were still using laptops. Now we're in a phase where most have abandoned the idea of the tablet being the new wave of the future. And now they're moving towards the fact, no, computers are still the most relevant. And so my son has his own laptop, has his own Stream Deck, programs his own macros. He plays strange games, at least strange to me, as in like there's a game called BeamNG Drive, which is all physics based.
Okay, that sounds fun.
So he brings cards in and he has different mods. I can do a truck with a boat, and he can actually see the individual parts. Like he individually shifts. He individually does all these things. And so when he crashes it, he actually can see the damage and the physics, and he can do different things with it.
Yeah.
And like put it back together, repair it, do different things.
Adjust things to see.
It's strange, and it's very detailed on how he has to do it. He's got another game that is called Fire Rescue something. Essentially, it's a rescue game where it's like you go into disasters, whether it's tsunamis or tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever it is, cataclysmic events, and you rescue people. But it's also physics based, so you have to bring in these like all the it's weird looking. So there's like a blank canvas, and you have this box, and now you have to import a specific type of equipment, how you want it to function, what you want it to do, and so he builds these things.
Wow.
It's weird. It's weird. I say weird to me. It's strange to me. It's not familiar at all for what I would do.
Think of like your parents playing Pong,
right?
And then you're playing Super Mario Brothers,
right? He's a kid that he would enjoy Flight Simulator.
Oh yeah, it's a fun game.
Like he would be all over the dials and learning how it works.
Yeah.
And my brain is just like, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
And so, but he's learning to do the technical stuff. He's very much into the computer and programming. Like he will program certain functions and menus and stuff, so he can just hit a button and bring up certain menus and do certain things with it.
Yeah.
Which is great, and I love that about him. But it's odd to me because it's not anything I would even think is fun.
Yeah.
But he enjoys it thoroughly, and I'm like, I don't understand your enjoyment.
Yeah.
Like this seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of work, and I watch him do it, and it's like, this is fun to you. He's like, yes.
Hey, if he's having fun with it.
And I'm good with it because he's having fun with it. But like, man, it's just like it's so complicated.
Yeah.
Like I know I could figure it out, but I'm like, how do you?
I don't want to.
No, I don't. I have no desire. I don't like to learn any games now, much less something like that. But like the thing for me is just,
well, it's also
crazy seeming.
It's his young brain, and the neurons are firing at much faster than our older brains are. We can still learn things, but it's going to take us a little bit longer to get through the process of it.
Right.
But it's funny because like thinking about video games as a kid, when I play video games now, I'm like, oh god, it's like brutal because I'm not good at it. Like playing Call of Duty, things like that. Like I'm terrible. I used to be awesome at that.
Right.
And I am now like last of the line.
It's strange, but it's not strange. I mean, if he now enjoys and likes math, then it would make sense that he likes physics-based things too.
Engineering, man.
So
that's a broad field. Can do a lot with that.
Well, I mean, again, too, like it's whatever he does, he just needs to do it as hard and as good as he can, and you know, it's going to be one of the four.
Yeah.
He's either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, or an engineer. Otherwise, to me, there's no reason to go to school unless you have to have a license, like a nursing, like medical practitioner. So I would lump like nursing into
medical,
like a medical section, something that you have to have a license in.
Yeah.
You know, teaching, you obviously have to have a license in. You have to pass, you know, the licensing board for that kind of thing. But
still, technical jobs are good. I find more fulfillment doing construction and hand, like physical labor, than I've ever made as
well.
nurse.
We're going to be sorely in a world of hurt in the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm just building all my own stuff, doing all my own work.
I mean, it's nobody. A good. I mean, trade skills. I mean, you're gonna see if the crazy redistribution of wealth that's going to come in the next 20 or 30 years. will be those in trades.
Yeah. Oh, I wish my dad, because my dad was originally a stonemason. I wish that he was in his prime now. He never made money as a stonemason when I was a kid.
Oh, he'd make a killing right
he'd
now.
make so
He
much
would
money
be
now.
ridiculous. He wouldn't know what to do with all of it.
He would have a waiting list of people wanting to work with him, where he would basically be begging people to be doing
Well,
that.
we talk about her brother. Yeah, specifically her brother, her oldest brother. He is a master mason, and he does architectural stonework for all of the historic sites in Germany.
That's nice. That's awesome.
So I'm like, why don't you come here during the winter when you can't work? I was like, because you'll make a killing here.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you just walk around saying you're advertising German designed, driveways or whatever, cobblestone driveways. I mean, think about the people that love like that Savannah cobble and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, come on, man.
Go down to Buckhead,
I hate
areas.
that stuff
Oh,
too.
yeah.
It kills my car. I can't stand it. It's rough. It's not, but it's historic and it's aesthetic.
Oh yeah, try walking on
it,
heels.
it's terrible. Or just walking on regular freaking shoes. I still almost
My wife
fall.
and I were in New Orleans. I think we were maybe engaged, and she's wearing these really pretty heels, but women wear shoes that are incredibly uncomfortable, but yet they refuse to admit that they're uncomfortable until the end of the night. Well, she put these shoes on
until they take them off.
Oh, when she put these shoes on, she's like, these things hurt. I don't know. Still went out drinking, partying, having a good time, walking, and she's walking back on these cobblestones, and it's killing her ankles. It's rubbing her feet just wrong, and she's like leaning on me, like, hold me, I can't. I was like, we got to walk like 2 more miles. I'm not carrying you. You can walk on your own. Take your shoes off. I can't walk barefoot on this. I'm like, well,
girl, you better make some life decisions right now.
And she still married me.
But I mean, like that kind of skill. I was watching I forget her name. She's also a doctor, or she has her doctorate. I think she's in psychology or something like that. But she's autistic, and she grew up autistic. She's an older lady. She actually re-engineered, she re-engineered slaughterhouses for cows.
Okay.
And so she designed this one. She said she has several books. She's a much older lady. She's out in the Midwest, like in Oklahoma area. Because I remember watching her, and like she was like dressed to the nines in some like old cowboy gear. It was hilarious because she's just a brash older lady. I mean, she is very disagreeable. I'll say that she is extremely disagreeable. But she's very fascinating in this. But she's autistic, and she's an imagery-based autistic person, according to her. And she says, when it comes to autism, there's 2 different dimensions according to what her studies are and the literature that she has. And one is almost like photographic based.
Okay.
Like you say a word to them and they bring up an image. And it's an exact image. It's not an abstract. It's an exact image. Like if you say rose to her, she'll pull up a photographic image of a rose bush in her parents' yard.
Yeah.
That's what she brings up. Well, then she says there's others that are dimensional based. They're in terms of spatial awareness type.
Yeah.
And so those are the 2 forms of autism that she has identified based off her own experience. And, the ones that are photographic based are more into engineering and being able to see parts and things like that.
The mechanics of it, yeah.
Yeah, and photography. So she does mechanical design. She's even worked for Disney on like roller coasters and like helped with designs and things like that. And then like the spatial are more into like math and physics and like in more almost not quite abstract, but because it's spatial, it's different instead of a 2-dimensional type style.
It's 3-dimensional, yeah.
Right. And so theirs is a little bit different. And so it's very fascinating to hear her speak on these, and the way she designed the cattle farms. And she actually wrote a book where she said I'm more like a cow, which is kind of funny because she has cows everywhere, all over her tables and everything, porcelain cows and stuff. It's funny, little couch cushions and everything. And she said she was fascinated by cows when she studied them, because she would do something and she liked using drone footage, because then you could remove yourself completely from them. They couldn't see you. So she would take something like an abstract on, like a suitcase, and stick it in the middle of the field. Well, then she would fly the drone over, and there's a big circle of damn cows staring at the suitcase. And they would not move. They were all circled, staring. And cows don't like things out of the norm. And that's basically what she came up to. Something that was in an environment that's not normally there, the cow's programming just automatically rejects it. And so they almost can't function.
Yeah.
And so she designed the butcher house or facility or whatever, where it actually is in a spiral. And it spirals in until it gets into the center where the cows are butchered. And what that does is it prevents them from having any external distraction.
Okay.
And so the walls are high, and it's just a tunnel, and it goes slowly around. And it just goes into it. And she did this because she thought it was the most humane way to do it, because it put them under the most minimal amount of stress.
Okay. That's fine.
And which I think that's admirable.
Yeah.
I've got no problems with that. But I was very fascinated on how she related not only to the animal itself, but also the humanity of it too at the same time. And being autistic, like having a PhD and all that kind of stuff, and being very intelligent, and it, it's very encouraging, because it's like, okay, this lady's autistic. Yeah. Now, would I say she's severely autistic? No, I wouldn't. If you listen to her, she kind of sounds just like an honorary grandmother, but
it's like socially awkward, like probably has a hard time with social cues, but intellectually is there.
But she's very aware
yeah.
of herself, and I think she studied psychology is what I think she studied, which would make sense in terms of why she has written papers and books on some of this stuff. Katrina needs to get the show back on track. What's wrong? We're actually on the rails, and we have a problem being on the rails. Nobody likes being on the rails anymore.
We talked about trains earlier.
We did talk about trains earlier.
I know, yeah. I'm a very poor man's replacement for Derek. I do apologize.
Well, this is a whole nother setup. Derek doesn't come to this.
Yeah, no, Derek doesn't come to Mondays?
No, Derek doesn't do. He has a case of the Mondays every week, which is not here.
We just do cards on Mondays.
Yeah, usually we do Cards Against Humanity, something like that. Just goof off. A lot of times I'll run the show by myself, which is fine. I did it for a long time. But it's always nice just to have somebody in just to shoot the shit and just hang out. Again, this one's not censored nearly as much as Friday is. Temple is an awesome story. Oh. For some reason that rings a bell, and I don't know why that rings a bell. But that rings a bell to me for some reason. Is that the book she wrote? I don't recall. Today is, by the way, National Oreo Cookie Day. How do you eat your Oreo?
So you're talking about how do I take it apart, or
how do you eat it when you get an Oreo in your hand?
So
what must your setup be? What must be your motive?
Whole milk.
There we go.
With a wide rim glass.
Nice and rich.
Yes. I take my Oreos apart and I do a twist with it so I can get all the icing on one.
Well,
I lick all my icing off, put the sandwich back together, dip that in the milk.
Yeah, now that you've used your saliva as a cohesive substance. Yeah.
I don't know who taught me that or why, but that's how I have to eat Oreos. If I eat them regular, the icing for some reason mixed with the cookie doesn't taste good.
I will also use whole milk.
Dr. Temple.
And that's it. Yes, Temple Grandin. Yes, that's her. Yeah. That's why I was recognizing them. That's why that was ringing such a bell. So Temple Grandin, she's the autistic. I believe she's a psychologist.
So how do you eat your Oreos?
Mine, I have a 4-second rule. Halfway in.
Hold it in your mouth.
4 seconds.
Just the tip.
4 seconds. Bite it off. And it's got to have just enough. It's got to have a little bit of crunch, but still have some softness to it at the same time. And then I would put it on the corner. Same thing. And then here, you ready for the weird part? I would eat that off and I'd drop the corner down in the cup. And then
okay, so something at the end?
Then it sinks to the bottom.
Yeah,
and then I would do that with 4. And then I'd finish it off and I'd have that welcoming chocolatey goo at the very bottom.
Okay, I could see that.
Cream and throw away.
My wife,
I
I
can
can see that for
of
sure.
Icing?
Yeah, that's all she'll do.
Save money, just get a tub of icing.
That's all she does.
Problem
Or I
solved.
put it on one side and I only eat that side. I don't eat the other.
Like, do we really need double stuff?
No, we need
No, there's
most
more than
stuff.
double stuff now. Isn't there like triple stuff for they're
There's
bigger?
mega stuff, and now they came out with most stuff.
That's what I saw.
This is
Yeah.
so
At the
stupid.
gas station, I got it for Little Man the other day.
Yeah.
You saw it on YouTube.
All right, you want to complain about the healthcare system? Well, make sure you realize what the freaking food system's doing.
I could tell that to you all day long. No, what's funny with the healthcare system
God, it's
is that
ridiculous.
it's food food is a vice just like anything else, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, you have to have food, just you have to have air. We're all addicted to food. We all eat food on a normal basis. And
Well, yeah, it goes back to dopamine.
oh yeah, well, brings you pleasure.
Correct.
And your body has a ladder of priorities.
Yep.
Breathing.
Yeah, your
water.
hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, hierarchy
Yep.
of needs. Yeah, like sex, things like that. But when it comes to like food, you have
Sex might be a need, but
true.
but like water,
the
food,
basics.
shelter.
But if somebody becomes addicted to a certain type of food, like say they want sugary foods, it can jump rungs to where it's almost more important than water. Not more than breathing.
Wow, somebody wants some Cards Against Humanities. You want to go sit over there, and I'll.
Cards Against Derek. Okay.
Yeah, it's a typical. Hold on a second. I'll arrange it. We'll let James ask the questions.
Ooh.
I think he has the cards over there. Do you have the?
Right here, the question mark.
All right,
Okay.
where's the big deck? Do you want to ask? What do you want to do, babe?
It's right here. Oh, no, I'm
I don't care.
ready.
All right,
I'll ask. Why not?
ask away. All right, let's split it up. Whoops, wrong one. Nope, wrong one. There we go.
This
All
is
right.
a pivotal question.
All right, how are we doing? One or two? So 2 cards.
Single question
Okay.
or single response.
Okay.
Are you ready for your?
Hold on.
Is your
let me
mic
see
ready?
if she- Oh, hold on a second.
Down covered.
I don't even know if that mic's plugged.
Might not be.
Hold on a second.
Says that plug over there.
That's that one right there. Yeah.
Hold on a second. This is the one that's staticky. I gotta get a new cable. Okay, talk.
I don't hear anything.
Hey, I can talk.
Hold on, I don't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear.
Why can't I hear? Say it again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can kind of hear you.
Okay.
Alrighty.
You'll have to move it more in front of your mouth, though.
Okay.
You are so quiet.
Are you guys ready?
Talk a little louder.
I'm ready.
Oh, well, no, don't talk that
I
loud.
know. I won't talk that loud.
No, you're fine. All right, go ahead.
The question is,
Can y'all hear her? Okay, go ahead.
why am I sticky?
I don't.
The best part about Cards Against Humanity is that you're not playing against each other. You're playing against the person reading the card.
Well, in this
So-
one, we definitely are.
So you're always trying to find that, like, who knows that person better.
Hey, wait a minute. Are we picking or are we drawing
Oh, I'm
random?
picking. You had
Just-
multiple
All right,
cards.
just
to
pick.
pick.
I'm going
pick.
random.
Okay, you.
Okay.
I like random
I know.
chance.
Sometimes random
All
is
right.
more fun.
Okay.
Go ahead, darling.
Why am I so sticky, Katrine?
Unwelcome sexual attention from grown men.
Oh my god. Wow.
That's just a Monday. That's normal. All
God. Wow. All right.
right, buddy. Why am I
don't-
so sticky?
Gail from HR? That was kind of.
I like that one. I like
Okay.
that one.
I don't know what that means, but okay. I get fine. I'll take it. That might have been the cleanest one I could find.
Today on Maury.
Oh, that's right.
Today on Maury. Help! My son is.
God. Oh. Troy, I'm the same way. All right, that's a 1-carder?
Yeah, one Carter.
Okay.
Today on Maury. Help! My son is.
I want these work.
Well, you're just gonna have to make it work. Because I've got my random one. I don't know what it is, so I'm fully confident in mine.
I know. That's the thing is, you pull out a random card and you are just 100% confident until you say it, and then you're like, oh.
Well, yeah.
I know that always
Yeah.
makes it better. All right.
Yeah. But then I don't feel bad about it either.
is Them titties.
Wow. God. All right.
Hey, buddy, what you got? Today on Maury. Help! My son is.
That bitch, Stacy.
Yes. 2 for 2, buddy.
Oh,
That was
no.
awesome.
2 for 2.
Yes.
Golly.
Randomness. Are we doing
Cards are
another one?
just- I like the ultimate randomness. We can do one more if you want to.
All right. Still a single card.
All right, let me pull another. I love the music that we have going too. On
Oh,
this
this
one.
is. Just like I'm in
All
a
right.
jazz lounge. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but with.
A bitch slap.
God.
Is that what you have?
Wow.
Oh, nice. That's a pretty good one. What you got?
Getting naked and watching Nickelodeon. That's dark. That's
That's
not
very
good. That is. I feel a little dirty
I'm gonna
right
say
now.
bitch slap though.
A bitch slap.
I'm gonna say
good.
bitch slap.
Yeah, I'm take bitch
like
slap.
that.
I don't even like my card. I feel like it's
That's
like
that's
I feel like
the,
it's,
the randomness of it.
wrong in so many facets. Let's see. Oh, today is Day of the Dude.
Day of the Dude.
Oh, Big Lebowski.
There we
Good
go.
movie.
Take that one. Alamo Day. What is this? Casimir Pulaski Day? Casimir Pulaski? I don't know who this is.
Pulaski sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar, but I don't know. Dentist Day. That's always good.
Get your teeth clean.
8-hour day or Labor Day. 8-hour day or Labor Day. I don't know why that's both got to be there. Fun facts about Names Day. I don't have any. National Day of Unplugging. There probably should be a national.
But isn't that this week is Unplug Week?
There's probably an unplugged week for sure. This is
Yeah.
just on this specific day.
Yeah.
National
Everybody
Dress
unplug
Day.
your computers right now.
National White Chocolate Cheesecake Day. Is white chocolate chocolate?
No,
No.
because it's chocolate is that's hard.
No, it's not.
It's
but,
not,
But it
but
is.
But it's like, yeah,
It is, because you keep saying it. Why call it white chocolate if it's not chocolate?
call it. Then what would you call it then?
Cream.
Hey, Casimir Pulaski is buried in the squares of Savannah. He's a
Interesting.
Polish nobleman and soldier that came over to fight, and he died in Georgia and got buried.
Maybe that's
in Savannah.
why. Maybe that's why it sounds familiar.
Probably in Savannah at one point on one of the squares that during
I mean,
the
I'm
tour.
fine with that.
One of
I
the
don't-
ghost tours or something, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no problems with that.
Love me some ghost tours.
Or I have some of the pictures of the boy when we did ghost tours because we used to watch Ghost Adventures together
Oh,
when
yeah.
he was much smaller. So we went on a ghost. We went on, and of course he likes Ghostbusters too. That's another thing. Obviously, he's very much an '80s kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we have went through when she's out of town. We typically have '80s movie night. So we've watched all the Ghostbusters, all the Back to the Futures. We watched the Goonies.
Good movie.
Loved
Good
the
movie.
Goonies. I didn't think it would hold up well.
Yeah.
There's a few parts in there that you're like, ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when Mouth all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, Mackie, where'd you go? Give me a little cookie."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh no!"
I forgot about this.
Like, son, look away. We watched Labyrinth. We watched Never Ending Story.
Karate Kid.
See, those
We
are movies
watched Karate
I'm trying to
Kid.
get my wife to watch those, like Labyrinth, and well, she's seen Never Ending Story, but she never saw Star Wars before we got together. Like, really trying to get her into those.
We went up through.
Well, we started it in like age range, like starting.
we went chronologically,
So
Mistake.
and
yeah, when Anakin.
yeah, the whole lava
yeah.
situation.
They got too
that's
dark
a
too
little,
quick.
That's a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
we
he-
skipped that because he was getting upset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he related to Anakin
and we didn't even
too.
we didn't even get to the bad part.
Yeah.
And we were like, and he was already getting upset because he was getting so upset about was he was getting upset off of Anakin, like kind of like going dark and evil.
Yeah.
Like that's what it was breaking his heart.
Yeah.
Like he was so upset that Anakin, like he was a good boy, his mom loved him, he had to leave his mom, that broke his heart. Like all these things, like he's like relating to him the whole time.
Yeah, he was racing with the light.
Yep.
See, my son, he's just found out that Darth Vader is Luke's Skywalker's father, but it does not make sense to him.
No.
He just doesn't understand it. And he's seen Episode 1. He has no idea that Anakin and Darth Vader are the same person. And I think it's great that he just doesn't understand that
I don't
connection.
think it adds anything at that age.
No. He knows Yoda, Luke,
Yeah.
and the Jawas and the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's all that he knows.
Well, and
He
then
doesn't know.
Ewoks. That's another great one to
Yeah.
watch is the Ewoks.
The Courage, Caravan of Courage. Is that the one? There's two Ewok movies. There's one where they're fighting like a big monster thing, and one where they're
Yes,
fighting
that's
like a
the
wizard.
first one.
Yeah, we saw the
and
first
so
one.
they send like a quest with
Yeah.
like the 5 or 6 and to go get the parents.
Yeah.
Is what it was. And I don't remember exactly what the second one was.
Wasn't it like a wizard or something?
I don't
Or-
recall it.
Yeah.
But I remember when Star Wars went to Endor and like,
Mm-hmm.
encountered the Ewoks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah. In Jedi, yeah.
Because that was kind of cool. That was one of the first times I ever recalled any kind of set of movies intermingle.
Yeah.
I don't recall ever seeing them intermingle before.
No.
And that was a major intermingling. If you watch the Ewoks, when it got into the Star Wars movie, and they all like the Ewoks were helping out, I was like, this is awesome. I know all those Ewoks.
Well,
I loved it.
I'm going to ask something divisive.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm going to ask something divisive.
Oh, well,
so
it's turned into that.
So is anybody in the chat a big fan of Star Wars?
Why is that divisive?
Because there's something that drives me crazy. When on Hoth, when the Empire Strikes Back, you have the big walking robots. Mm-hmm. The acronym for that is an AT-AT. People always call them AT-ATs.
Oh, that's what I say when I read the Lego set.
No,
AT-AT.
it is an AT-AT because the two-legged one is an AT-ST. You don't go an ATs.
ATs.
Look at the ATs. No one says that. They call it an AT-ST. But yet the AT-AT, they call it an AT-AT. It is not an AT-AT. It is an AT-AT. People argue with me about this. I have people on my side and people against me.
I've
It's
never
very
even
divisive.
thought about it. The only time I've even encountered it was looking at Lego sets.
So, all right. So I would not get. So here's what I'll say on the opposite side of it. I think if people understood like R2D2 and things like that, and they connected how all the droids and everything are
CP3O, C3PO.
C3PO, all that. Like if people knew that the vernacular was based off of the individual letters, they probably wouldn't go at.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't
It's in the Star Wars community. It is. There are people that have our team AT-AT and team AT-AT.
I can see that if you're very aware of how the terminology works
When
in
somebody
Star
says
Wars.
like, "Oh man, look at this AT-AT," I'm like, "Oh no."
Now there are some people that will just say things just to say them a certain way too.
That's true. That's all that's been introduced to us.
So I mean, and at that rate, I'm like, all right, whatever.
When I say it to my wife just rolls her eyes. She's like, "I don't care."
Luke, I'm your
cares.
daddy. Troy, I'm not sure that's right. That's probably not the way he did it. Pulaski has a bridge named after him in New York City. Nice. Pig and Piping, it's past our bedtime too. I'm gonna go ahead and close this sucker out too. I appreciate you jumping on. We're running a little late at 11:30. I apologize again. James was here on time and early, and I ran my mouth and was here late. I still have to shower coaching the boy. But thank you everybody for coming and hanging out. Appreciate all of you. Matthew, good signal on telling us to get the hell off and go to bed at a decent hour, but probably still won't happen because I still stay up late, which is how it goes. James, thank you so much for coming over. I appreciate you. Hopefully,
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully, it's amazing that almost an hour and 15 minutes has went by.
Yeah, I know. It went by real quick.
So, I mean, it goes quick.
Yeah, just friendly conversations.
Yeah, my wife will tell you too. Like she gets kind of amazed at how quickly the time goes, and like you don't even really think about it because it just kind of disappears. Like because I mean, and this is another thing too. I think about it's like I get to facilitate more in-depth conversations, and because it's more structured, engagement is much higher.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like you need a freaking podcast environment just to facilitate good engagement.
Well, also too is that our group is notorious for this, is that we will not talk over each other, but talk while other people are talking. And in this type of format, that's terrible because like you can't really hear anybody saying. So it's kind of nice to like, okay, let's get your point. Okay, then let's see. There's a flow back and forth with it.
Well, with 2 people, 3 people at the most, it's not bad. 4 people, it's a cluster.
We did pretty good though.
We didn't get through hardly anything.
No, we didn't get through anything.
I had to drive the show unbelievably, but it is what it is.
Well, Derek never shows up prepared. That's the problem.
Well, we can lay blame wherever we want, I guess. You heard it right there, everybody.
It's all Derek's fault.
Well, we'll see y'all next time. Y'all be good out there. We'll see y'all later. Derek's gonna hate everybody. No, wrong one.
He doesn't watch it
There
anyway.
it was. Oh yeah, train wreck. Is that too soon? Probably too soon. That's too soon. Oh well.